Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Xavier top floor in the he's not in the building, but his music he gets me hype every time. What's up, Jay? How you doing, man?
Hey man, we in the middle of basketball season, Tone, and I'm laughing because we got a really good topic today that I want to discuss. I can't wait to discuss this, man. I can't wait.
You know what? Then jump right in. Jump right in and just go. Listen. We're gonna talk about MVPs and what things count and what things don't count, and we've got headlines coming up, and we've got a bunch. What do you want to start with?
Hey Tone, have you ever seen the movie Titanic?
I've unfortunately I have seen the movie Titanic.
So in the movie Titanic, remember when the Titanic hit the iceberg and dude shows up, he comes in, he says, "When can we get going?" Completely disregarding how serious this situation is. This ship is sinking. I'm not saying that the ship might. This ship is going to sink. And half the people on this boat are going to die. Do you understand that? Clearly, he does not.
They're going to die.
And half the people on this boat are going to die.
Jay, if they die, they die. Rocky Four.
That's just it. And he can't understand that. That's what's going on with the Warriors, Tone. They are the Titanic. And the
Warriors are the Titanic. I just want the people in the cheap seats. You're saying the Warriors are the Titanic.
Tone, they got blown out by 30 at home. Oh my God.
Can't that just be a bad game?
No.
You just gave Junior a heart attack. I can see him through
No. The Golden State Warriors are the Titanic, Tone. They are sinking. And there are people who don't believe that the ship is sinking. There are people who think, no, we can fix this. No, you cannot. And then all of a sudden, the ship is halfway in the water. Now all of a sudden, okay, we better get the life jackets. No, it's too late now. It is too late now. Now all of a sudden, so everybody is available except for Steph Curry. He's the only one that's not available.
But shouldn't he be the one that they are looking to move first?
Well, here's the difference. Here's the downside to that.
You want him on a rebuild?
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. So here's the downside to that. The downside to that is when you're rebuilding, more times than not, you're garbage. But the best player, when he's still really good, that puts you in a bind. Prime example, when the Bulls won the NBA championship in 98, I mean, Jordan still was the best player in the game. Scottie was still good. Dennis was still good. This team was still good. But at that point, it was probably best to move on from these dudes. Even though there are a lot of people who said, we have we have a right to defend what's ours. Okay, sure. But they were getting older. And the last thing Jerry Krause wanted to do was find himself in cap hell, which is what was going to happen. Same logic with the Golden State Warriors. When they won the NBA championship in 2022, it was a good thing and a bad thing. It was a good thing, Tone, because what it did was it validated Curry and it validated the Warriors that we are it. The downside to that is, I don't know. I don't know if I get
Sometimes they don't play good. Chill. That's sports fluent kids. I don't know.
That's true, young fella. That is. Sometimes they don't play good. Only except in this particular situation, it's most of the time. That's the downside to this. Okay. Most of the time, they haven't been playing good. But to my point, Tone, and I promise I'm going to let you
go. I'm the exact opposite of you. So finish your point.
So what Jerry Krause was trying to do, Jerry Krause was looking at this going, we're going to fall into cap hell. The same thing is going on with the Golden State Warriors. I mean, they got a payroll of almost $500 million. With all of that being said, I don't think they're making the playoffs. I don't think that this team is going to make the playoffs. I think that this team is going to be a lottery team. Presently built, this team is going to make the lottery. And they had an opportunity after they won the NBA championship, and it validated Steph Curry, validated Clay. They had an opportunity to fix this. And Move on from some of these guys because you got a lot of young guys that are good. Only except they didn't, Tone. They decided we still got the goods and we're going to run it back. Oh, not only did that not work after getting smoked by the Lakers last year in the playoffs, this year Clay is a shell of himself. Draymond can't stay on the court. You got a bunch of young guys who are actually pretty good. You have no direction with this unit. You're holding on to what was. And I don't want to laugh like it's funny because it's not funny, but it's incredible when it's right in front of your face and you can't see it. And that's what's going on with the Warriors.
Okay. So let's now I'm going to add let me add some perspective here. One, the Warriors are 2 games out of 8th. They're 2 games out of 8th, which if there was no play-in, okay, they would be 2 games out of a playoff spot.
Which makes them what, Tone?
2 games out of a playoff spot is what it makes.
A lottery team. That's who they are. A lottery team.
They're 2 games out of a playoff spot. We haven't even hit the halfway point of the season. Their heart and soul of their team has gone through some therapy, has swung a few punches, and hasn't been in the lineup. Their second best player, and it's funny you said Clay. No, their second best player, Andrew Wiggins, for the last season and a quarter has been a shell of himself. Klay Thompson has been a shell of himself. Steve Kerr is showing me a lot of questionable coaching decisions / ability. Kuminga, who was supposed to be the young guy that started to take over some of that role as a starter, a premier player on that team, isn't getting his minutes, isn't for whatever reason, maybe, leave that for Chris Paul, who was brought in to kind of steady the ship a little bit, is hurt. So when you see a team that is only 2 years removed from winning an NBA championship, that, by the way, had we thought the way you're thinking right now, that team would have been blown up. That team would have been blown up. That team wouldn't have existed. No one expected them to win a chip. They didn't start the season off great. And all of a sudden, they're NBA champs. So I'm not writing them off. Clearly, that loss was a cherry on a very bad, rotten dessert because it hasn't looked good. But this team, in my opinion, is one move away from being right back in it in the West because, again, who are the guys that are just dominating that they have no shot of beating when they're all healthy? Denver?
Tone. Yes. Keep going.
Right? That's it.
Keep going, Tone. Don't stop there.
No, I think that's it.
They not if you get them in, even if they're healthy, you get them in a 7-game series. I don't like them against Minnesota. I don't like them against the Clippers.
As constructed today. As constructed
today.
Even trade away, right? If they make a move, now their team is Steph, Clay, Dre. Just because it's rumored, I don't think it's gonna happen. Siakam. Now we're looking at this team very different.
No, we're not, Tone. No, we are not. And the reason why we're not, because what you're doing is you're taking you know them little band-aids to use to take paper cuts. This is a bullet hole this size, and that's what you're putting it on. That's what you're doing.
I do not put band-aids on a paper cut.
That's what you're doing. You're adding buckets. It's not like you're going younger. You already have young kids. Not only do you already have young kids, it's probably best to usher them in. And I don't just mean with much. I don't mean just moving these guys forward. I mean ushering them in and ushering the older guys out. Draymond, bye. Clay, bye. All of these dudes got to go, Tone, and including Steve Kerr. I'm out on.
You want to fire the coach right now?
I'm out on all of these dudes, Tone. I'm out on all of them. When I think about this situation, I think about this situation very much like I think about what Belichick just did, only except it was 2 years too late. When Tom Brady walked, that's when Belichick should have been gone. Tom Brady was a $500 million Powerball lottery ticket. You're not getting that again. You're not. The way the Warriors were built with Steph Curry, you got him on the cheap because he was injured. And not only was he injured, there was questions. He was injured early, but he played the majority of the time. And there were questions about his health. So you got him on the cheap, which was good. You got Clay on the cheap also. You got Draymond on the cheap. You got Harrison Barnes also on the cheap. With building this unit, that's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. And I doubt very seriously you could do it again. I don't think that you could do it again. So with that being said, it's time to move on from all of these guys. Not just Curry, not just Clay, not just Draymond, all of these guys. The downside, though, is, Tone, is that your best player is still awesome. It's not like Steph Curry is marginal or he's above average. I still think he's a top 5 player in the league, which makes it difficult to move on from him because he does, even though he doesn't want to be a part of the rebuild. And to your point, well, the last thing that I want to do, and to your point, the last thing that I want to do is hold on to a guy too long. But what I also want to do, though, is I want to strike while the iron is hot. And at the end of the day, this is business. And a guy like Steph Curry, what could Steph Curry get you, Tone, on the open market?
Well, no, look, nothing because they're not trading Steph Curry.
Right.
Steph Curry's not going anywhere. Right. If anything, you're going to make one or two smaller moves to say, okay, when they made the trade, if you remember, for Andrew Wiggins, everyone's said, well, that's not a needle mover. That's not a big move. It's a guy who underachieved and what did he end up doing? He ended up being the second best player on a championship team. I think they're going to look to catch lightning in a bottle again. And they're going to say, look, they're going to have a serious conversation with Draymond Green. They're going to have a very serious conversation with Draymond Green. Can you keep it together for, the rest of the season? Look, and they might have to take him at his word, or they might have to just cut him loose. I don't disagree with you there. I think they keep him. Clay, they're going to have to figure out, is Clay hurt? Is Clay just done? Can he give us quality minutes off the bench? Like, what is Clay's role?
Right.
Jonathan Kuminga is the one. That's the linchpin. Because we're either going to play him and he needs to be a part of this team offensively and defensively and like a major part of this team. And if Kerr's not going to do it, then they need to trade him. And there are teams like Toronto who would take him and give you a star, give you a, borderline all-NBA caliber player, because that's what he is. He was an all-NBA 2 years ago. I believe he wasn't last year, but he was close. And if you can get, that type of piece for Kuminga, you can get another, like when I say a piece for Andrew Wiggins, I'm not talking about a star because you're not going to get a star, but I'm talking about a role player, a dirty work guy, like that type of player. Now this team looks a lot different. And with Steph, and look, I don't know how severe Chris Paul, I don't know. I mean, maybe this is my fault.
He's got a broken hand, Tone. He's got a broken hand and he's out for 4 to 6 weeks.
Right hand?
Yes.
All right, so his shooting hand. So he's out for let's say till the All-Star break.
At least after the All-Star break.
Yeah. Let's say the All-Star break. So now if I come back after the All-Star break with a team of a healthy, hopefully, Chris Paul, Steph Curry, a hopefully, in line Draymond Green, another dirty work guy, and Pascal Siakam, I'm feeling, look, I'm not saying I'm picking this team to win a championship, but I'm feeling a lot better than this team needs to be blown up and they're washed and, the world is over and it's the Titanic. That's the Titanic.
Oh, I can't believe that I'm thinking about you being the businessman that you are, right? Tone being the businessman that he is. Tone appreciates when you fail fast. Tone also knows
I would have blown it up. I'm not arguing with that. I would have blown it up in 100%. But I'm looking at it from their perspective and their loyalty to Steph and their loyalty to Draymond and their loyalty to Clay, which we always knock teams for not being loyal. Well, here's a team that is, taking a team too far because you brought up the 98 Bulls, and I'm glad that you did. I think everyone should be pissed that the Jerrys didn't run it back because Michael Jordan was still the best player in the NBA. Phil Jackson was still the best coach in the NBA. Scottie Pippen was still probably the best number 2 in the NBA. Dennis Rodman was still the best rebounder in the NBA. Steve Kerr was the best 3-point percentage-wise shooter in the NBA. Tony Kukoc was probably the best sixth man that you could find in the NBA. So Ron Harper was still a quality defender who could play a couple more years. You bring that team back with a short. Now they didn't know this, but you bring this back with a shortened season.
Right.
They might have won 4 in a row. That's actually the perfect scenario for an old team is a shortened season because they don't have to play as much. And then you can say, okay, now let's blow it up. Or, hey, these guys refuse to come back on 1-year deals. That type of thing. So I, and like I said, if I would have been running the Warriors, I would have blown it up before they won the 21-22 chip. And so I would have missed out on another ring.
I think last year, Tone, was it. I think last year was it. When they lost to the Lakers, last year was the perfect time to move on. Just like with the Bulls, I think that you let go of that unit a little bit too quickly. I do. So if you bring back everybody and we compete for the NBA championship in the 98-99 50-game season, if we don't win it, okay, now we get to move on from Scottie. And like Jordan said, it would have probably taken some convincing on Scottie's part because Scottie wanted to get paid.
Sure.
And I do appreciate that. Scottie
on a 1-year deal, he would have gotten paid, right?
I think he would have on a 1-year deal because, and like Jordan said, we were all signing 1-year deals. So bring all of these guys back on 1-year deals. That's not what's going on with the Warriors, though.
Yeah, but this team didn't win last year. Like if this team won last year, we're having a different conversation. So you got to keep them together. Like you keep them on top till they get knocked off. Then you blow them.
Which is last year, Tone. Which is last year. The fact that they lost to the Lakers, the way that they lost to the Lakers, and it was obvious that this team in the offseason, you have pieces that you can move to get better. You did not have to extend Draymond. You did not have to extend Draymond. You already knew you weren't extending Clay because if you were extending Clay, you would have done it after they won the NBA championship. You wanted to see what he looked like, and you weren't prepared to go there. That's why he still hasn't been extended. Sure. Which, to your point, Tone, being a businessman, I'm not going to spend money that I don't have to spend.
So okay, so who are you most loyal to? And again, I wouldn't do it, but I want to applaud them for being loyal to these guys. And if Clay's done, okay, then Clay's done. Move on. I'm okay with that. Yeah. If Dre is done, if you're just like, we cannot put up with the antics, we cannot put up with the, because it's not just in the regular season, it's in the playoffs, it's all the time. Sorry, Dre. Like you can get quality players back for Clay, for Dre, for Wiggins, for Kuminga. My question is, you brought up Steve Kerr. What's going on? Like, is he just? I'm starting to think we just overrated him as a coach because it's real easy to win. It's real easy to win when you have Steph and KD and Clay and Draymond. If you can keep their egos in check, you got the talent. That's
the problem. No, it is not.
Let me ask you: is it easier to win with Steph and KD on the Warriors or with the Pistons?
Is it easier
right
to win
now? The Pistons.
Well, it's obvious
when you have the talent.
When no, Tone, that's unfair because at that time those guys were in a different space. They're building something in Detroit. And of course, they're not very good right now. And by the way, since we're on that subject really quickly, thank you to the Toronto Raptors for screwing up what I thought was going to happen. They was on their way to 40 straight, Tone. Just to put that out there. And you did call that. Yes, you did.
Not just called it. I guaranteed the Pistons would beat the Raptors on Saturday night.
Yes, you did. And they're on their way to 40 straight. But to the point of KD and Steph, they were already established stars in the league coming together to win an NBA championship, as opposed to this Detroit Pistons team with a bunch of kids trying to figure it out. I think that, and to your point, moving forward with Detroit, we could see something different down the line. I'm not sure that Monty Williams is a developmental coach, but he could very well be. With that being said, Tone, this Golden State Warriors team with Steve Kerr, it is not as simple as people think. Tone, you already know.
He's a great coach.
I think he's a great, like Phil Jackson. I think he's a great manager of egos. I think he's a great manager of talent. That's what I think.
You're comparing him to Phil Jackson?
Well, first and foremost, remember who Phil Jackson was, Tone. I just want to make sure that we clear. Remember who Phil Jackson was. Tex Winters was the X and O guy. Let's make sure we clear on that.
Yes. You want to ask it though?
Can you write it down?
I have it. It's the one that you sent. Is it the one that you sent?
Yeah.
We're gonna get to it. I promise. Okay.
We're gonna get to it, young fella.
We're gonna
we
get
are.
to it. I promise. I promise.
Patrick
Yeah, I promise.
No, I need to add it.
Okay. You know what's interesting? Like people in the comments will say stuff, and like we can just ignore them and put them off. But when it's Fluent Junior who's asking in the comments, he can just walk in and be like, "Yo, are you gonna get to my question?"
Can't do that.
I promise.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will get to your question.
I saw both. I promise.
But
you look so hold on. So you're comparing Steve Kerr. I just want to be clear that you're comparing Steve Kerr to Phil Jackson.
A lot of his tactics and his coaching philosophy, he's a mixture of both Phil Jackson and Greg Popovich. By the way, his coaching style, and he's got great coaches on his bench also, just like Phil had. He's a great manager of egos and of talent, just like Phil was. Does that mean that he's the X and O guy that Tex Winters was? No. Tex was clearly the X and O guy. That's who was the guy in Chicago. That's who was the guy in Los Angeles. He was the X and O guy. With that being said, who is the X and O guy? The guy Atkins. Atkins is a really good X and O guy. He's that guy on the bench with Steve Kerr. Now, remember, Tone, remember what we're talking about now. We're talking about a team basically loaded with talent. I have a difficult time listening to the logic that it's not that hard to coach these guys. Tone, anybody can train a secretary. You could screw them up too. You could straight wreck this. And
if he was a great manager of egos, would we have had the Draymond punching Poole in the face?
I could say the same thing about Phil.
Because that was different. Because now you're going to compare Draymond to Jordan, and you can't do that.
I ain't comparing him to Jordan. I'm comparing him to Dennis Rodman.
Dennis Rodman didn't put it in the face.
No, Dennis Rodman was just going to wrestling matches and stuff like that, headbutting referees in the head and stuff like that. He was doing that.
And doing what they needed him to do, which was lead the league in rebounds. That's all they needed him to do.
Last I checked,
anything you want. He could have gone to a wrestling match, spent all night up with Carmen Electra. As long as he showed up to the game and rebounded, that's all they needed from him. Because we know when Horace Grant left and went to Orlando, and then Jordan came back, what were they missing? Rebounding. That's it. Yeah. That's it. That's why they lost to Orlando, because the second they got a rebounder, they swept that same Orlando Magic team.
Yes, they did.
So that's all they needed from him. But my thing is, if he's a great ego guy, then I don't think he did a good job controlling Draymond.
And I don't think that Phil Jackson did a wonderful job at controlling Dennis Rodman. He let Dennis Rodman be who he is. Don't get me wrong. Draymond did get out of control. And that was somebody that, we could have gotten in front of that a long time ago. But they were winning. And because they were winning, they kind of looked past a lot of it. They looked past a lot of it. And excuse me, they looked past a lot of it. And it ultimately came back. It ultimately came back to bite them. And because of that, now we are in this situation that we're in with Draymond, $100 million man, who that contract is going to be difficult to move with what he is, with all the antics and all of that stuff that he has. I mean, he gets on TV and tells us, I have to stop with the antics. And he took accountability, and I take no issue with that. My only issue is I don't want to hear it. Yo, do your job, B.
All right,
that's all I'm asking.
We spent way too much time on the Warriors, so I'm going to do a super chat. We got headlines, and then we're going to get to obviously the main topic of the day, which is our what MVP, and we're going to get to power rankings too. But what stats, right? What stats are most important to an MVP? So first, we have a super chat from Teddy Hart. Teddy Hart in the building. Why do you think the NBA switched from total stats to per game stats in determining a stats champion, scoring, rebounding, etc.? I believe they made the switch in 1969. They shouldn't have, because total awards availability.
Total does award availability. Sure it does. That means you're around the longest. Per game also matters, because that's on a night-to-night basis. And I'd like to think that deals with availability and how effective you are with your team. Don't get me wrong. I understand. I mean, totals can be like 10 games. You could go off for 10 games and not do much for the other 40 games. But if you went night to night doing something consistently, I think that trumps totals.
So you think the consistency trumps the availability?
I do.
Because it's interesting because like Jordan's rookie year,
Right.
Jordan's rookie year. I don't know. A lot of people don't know this. He led the league in total points,
Mhm.
but he also played 82 games. The winner of the scoring title, I believe, was Bernard King. I'm
In 82,
pretty sure,
83, 84, yep.
and he only played 66 games.
80, 84, 84, 85. Yeah, that was
Right. So
phenomenal.
he averaged a little bit more per game, but
Mhm.
when you play 16 more games, there's an opportunity to go up or down. So I understand that, and that's why I think there's the minimum. So that's where I was going to go with the answer. Is
Now,
that but now the question is why? Why do you think the NBA did it?
that's a good question too. Why do I believe the NBA did it? I want to clarify that consistency, because I care about your availability. You being available.
Ability
Yes,
is availability.
you know how I feel about that, Tone. If I can't count on you to be here, then I can't count on you. I don't care how good you are. So but it's also a double-edged sword, because if you're here every night and you have a 10 or 15 game stretch of doing work, but I have a 60 game stretch of, if I play 82 games and I was consistently giving you 20 as opposed to you, or I was giving you 7 or 8, 9 rebounds, but you over 10 or 15 games gave me 16 rebounds, but then you didn't, for the next 30 games, give me a double-digit rebound game.
So okay, so let's use that year, the 83-84.
Yeah.
So who's the better scorer? Jordan, who put up more points and played all 82 games,
Yep.
or Bernard King, who only played 60 something games, and averaged what, 1 or 2 more points a game, maybe one.
That season in the 84-85 season, if I'm not mistaken, that was one of Bernard. I think that was it 85 or 86 that he tore his knee up. That was Jordan rookie year. I'll tell you right now who led the league in scoring that year. It was Bernard King. Yes, it was. And he played, excuse me, Tony. He played, let's see here. Bernard King played that season in 83, 80, and 84, 85. He played 55 games that year, Tone.
Or even less. There you go.
Yes. He played 55 games that year. And I'm not sure that I love, I'm not sure, Tone, that I love him only playing 55 games and Jordan playing 82. Now, in terms of him being the better scorer, am I the better scorer than you in a week? Because that's the same thing that you're asking me, Tone. You're asking me, can I outscore you in a week as opposed to being outscored in a season?
Yeah.
What's valued more? So
it was 4 more points per game. It was
right.
it was I guess significant.
So
it was 4 more points per game. Now
so
Bird was wedged in the middle there too. So Bird averaged more points as well, but he and Jordan were off by like half a point.
I think he also played every night too.
I think he played 81 or something like that.
I think he played every night too. But to your point,
80 games.
To your point, Tone. So a guy playing 55 games, averaging 33 a game, is he a better scorer than a guy who played the entire season and totaled more points? Well, the guy who totaled more points,
because in today's NBA,
I like to think that he was a little bit more consistent.
He wouldn't have qualified, right?
Not with 55 games, he wouldn't have. No.
So that's actually, well, I guess it's Bird's by per game. It would have been Bird's scoring title.
I'm just what I'm thinking about is I'm thinking about a guy who in 55 games averaged almost 33 a game, and Jordan averaged 28 a game in 82 games. So if Bernard plays 82 games, does he average 28? Does he average 30 a game? Because I don't see where the fall off was. He got hurt, I think. That's why he didn't play. That's why he didn't play as much, because he got hurt. So I think that drops his value. And in terms of him being a better scorer, he was a better scorer in 1985 than Jordan was. Jordan wasn't nearly as polished as Bernard King. I have a difficult time doing. I have a difficult time. I mean, don't get me wrong. I appreciate totals. I do. I appreciate totals, because if we're doing totals, Chamberlain's the second best scorer in NBA history. He averaged 30 a game for his career. So if we're doing totals.
Okay. I was just curious, but so we never really answered the question, why did they change it? But I think my best guess is
I don't know.
I don't know if there's
That
an
part I
official.
don't know.
I don't know. We'll look up if there's an official reason. I think
don't
it's just, to your point, I think it was because they wanted to look at kind of night in, night out versus totals, and and I'll tell you this. I don't know. I just made this up in my head, and it might be true. They might have wanted to stop the how the averages where, hey, maybe my totals are no, because that's more average where you take nights off because you don't want to mess up your average. Yeah, I
Right.
think it's the same. So, all right. Maybe I don't know. Maybe again, maybe it's just more of an even playing field. Now, 55 to 82 is different, but for most kids, like, how do you compare a guy who played 80 games to a guy who played 70? You're not going to knock either player, but the guy who has played 80 has clearly an advantage because he played 10 more games. So they
Right.
want to even the playing field, to your point of who's doing it night in, night out. So that's probably the best answer I can give. So let's go to, we've got a ton of headlines.
Mm.
So let's get to those. We got dun, dun.
Yeah, we got graphics. Check us out, man. We big time around here. Check us out.
All right, so I'm just gonna go through just quickly, comment, chat, jump in. Here we go. Headlines. First one. We're gonna start on. No, you know what? We're gonna start outside. We're gonna start outside of basketball.
Mm-hmm.
We had Nick Saban retire.
Mm-hmm.
We had Bill Belichick decide he's moving on, or they decided that he's moving on from the New England Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
And we had Pete Carroll. 3 long tenured coaches out of Seattle, New England, and Alabama. Is there one that sticks out more than the other? Is the timing weird that all 3 of these senior citizens are moving on?
You just said it yourself, Toad. It's the timing that who's moving on, Toad?
The senior citizens.
There you go, right there. Nick Saban, 72. Bill Belichick, what is he, 73? Something like that. Yeah, and Pete Carroll, I think he's 74. 74.
All younger than LeBron, by the way.
What are you guys still doing here? What's happening right now? It's time for you guys to go. And to Nick Saban's point, I can appreciate it. The problem that Nick Saban is having is that the playing field is getting level. That's because of the NIL. So because that offensive lineman that you didn't have to walk into his house, you could get him. That wide receiver, you didn't have to go to his house and get him. Now you got to do that, coach. And the reason why you got to do that is because Coach Prime is in his house, because Jim Harbaugh is now in his house, and he's offering him more than you are because you big time in him. So now these younger kids are actually looking out for themselves because they have that opportunity. Now the playing field has gotten leveled. And Nick Saban says, I want out. I think I'm good. I'm not going to coach college football anymore.
I don't know, because when they lost to Michigan, do you believe that there's people calling for him to lose his job in Alabama? Like, how spoiled are you that you're like, dude, seriously? No. How about this for a conspiracy? You ready for this one? I'm calling it right now. Nick Saban to the Patriots.
No, Tone. Don't do it. Don't do it, Tone. Oh my God. Don't do it, Tone, please. Oh.
They're good friends. Mac Jones got drafted by the Patriots for a reason. Maybe they think Nick Saban can come in and get him back to how he was playing in college. And Bill Belichick, listen, the Patriot way, if you look at the Patriot way, it seems like a very college type of, it's our way or the highway, no individual, no personality. This is the way you do it. I'm just saying.
Oh, do you remember Nick Saban in the pros?
Oh, I think it would be a catastrophe, which is why I love it. Which is why I love
the train wreck, and you already see the trains on the track.
You know me. I'm sitting right there just watching it like.
There we go. I think it would be a disaster. I do. Even if they gave him creative control like they gave the Bill Belichick, where they made him the general manager, in the words of Bill Parcells, you can buy the groceries in addition to cooking the food. Even if they did all of that for him, I think this would be a complete and utter meltdown. Because Nick Saban is not a pro football coach. He is a college football coach. And mind you, Tone, in college, rivalries are what matter the most. Nick Saban can get to the college football playoffs. He could lose to Michigan. He could win one year and then lose to Texas. He could do that. So let him lose to Auburn 4 straight years. They will start to look at his contract. They will start to ask questions. Why do you think Jim Harbaugh was on the hot seat? The reason why he was on the hot seat in Michigan, because they had lost to Ohio State 4 straight years. The best coach that they've had. Yeah. They had lost to Ohio State when Urban Meyer was there. They had lost to Ohio State 4 straight years. They were calling for his head. And you know why? Because in college football, rivalries are what matter. So a guy like Jim Harbaugh, now all of a sudden, they're beating Ohio State. He wins the national championship. Even if they would have lost in the national championship, they still wouldn't have called for his head. Why? Because they beat Ohio State 4 straight years.
Which one is the biggest of the three? The biggest surprise?
The big, I thought that both, when I was thinking about the Patriots coach, when I was thinking about Belichick, I thought that they would split amicably, Tone. I didn't think that he would get fired. I thought that that would be something that they decided.
Technically they did. For me, I would say the biggest one is Pete Carroll. Because I saw Bill Belichick coming. I saw Alabama. I saw Nick Saban coming, but I thought it was a year or two away. That was the one I was going to say. Pete Carroll was a surprise because he did such a good job, especially last year with
Gino.
Gino. And this year, this year you had the 49ers just take control, and the Rams surprised a lot of people in that division. So that one surprised me. All right.
I had Nick Saban. Nick Saban was the surprise to me. He was just in the college football playoffs again, and in the process of him being in the college football playoffs again, he's probably gonna. He had a bunch of guys already back out of going to Alabama. I think he has some top recruits back out of coming to Alabama this season. So I didn't see. I thought Nick Saban would be there until like he was on some like Joe Paterno kind of tenure where he would never leave there. That's what I thought it would be with Nick Saban. Okay, and by the way, good riddance to Pete Carroll. Bye.
Oh yeah, fine. You're a 49ers fan.
Beat it.
Fine. Okay. Next one. At what point do we start treating referees like players? So I know that you disagreed with this, and you're wrong. I don't think you watched the game. But the Lakers Raptor game was atrociously officiated. And no surprise to anyone. And once I say the name, you won't be surprised either. The lead referee in that game was Ben Taylor. Ben Taylor has a history for being a bad referee, making bad calls, having burner accounts, and rooting for teams. Scott Foster, I think he is very, very well known for having personal beefs with especially with one player in particular. At what point do we start looking at refs and saying the same way we do with Draymond Green? He's a repeat offender. We're not going to give him a slap on the wrist because it's the 15th time that he's punched someone in the face or stomped on their chest or whatever the case may be. Well, when we're seeing trends with these refs, at what point do they start to look at it and say, hey, listen, without getting into the specifics of the Raptors and Laker game, because we disagree on it heavily, but just some statistics. If a team, I don't care who the teams are, if a team shoots 13 free throws in a game and there's a player on the other team that shoots 14, you have to look at it. I'm not saying anything was done wrong. What I'm saying is you at minimum have to look at it when there's a player on another team that out free throws attempts the whole other team. Of course, style of play, there's reasons that it could happen. All I'm saying is when it does, you need to look at it. When you have a team go 23 free throws to 2 in a quarter, you have to look at it. Sure, there was 4 intentional fouls. I get it. Which equated to 8 of those. All right, take those out. It's still 15 to 2. You still got to, again, I'm not saying it's fixed. I'm not saying it's rigged. I'm none of that. What I'm saying is you still have to look at it. Just from a competition standpoint, you just need to look at it. When a player gets called for flagrant foul, when he's doing a very natural sweep across, which we've all done when we've played basketball.
Right.
I'm not saying it wasn't a foul. All I'm saying is, was that really a flagrant? I don't believe so. When you have Anthony Davis flopping and costing them a 3-pointer, and we're supposed to have a flopping rule, you're telling me 140 pound Emmanuel Quickly set a screen so hard that it knocked Anthony Davis out 20 feet? Come on, man. Come on. Again, I'm not saying it wasn't. All I'm saying is you got to look at it. And my point is, when it's the same refs, I think we got to look at it closer. If this was ref Billy Bob that I don't know, that I've never heard a peep from, I'm less inclined to say anything. I'm like, hey, it happened. The other team was more aggressive. Like LeBron said, well, they were fouling and we weren't. Okay, that's what he should say.
LeBron James.
But when it's Ben Taylor, when it's Scott Foster, all I'm saying is
now.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, it was RJ Barrett who set the screen. Okay, fine. He still shouldn't be knocking AD back that far.
Now, with that being said, Tone,
I think it was quickly hit.
If I'm not mistaken, Joey Crawford threw Tim Duncan out of a playoff game. He was suspended for the rest of the playoffs. That was it. He was done. He was suspended for the rest of the playoffs. So they did. So they did have that. Then the NBA implemented the 2-minute rule. So when they implemented the 2-minute rule, when you go back and you look at why was this call right? Did you get this travel right? Well, this stuff equates to now reffing bigger games. Like, for example, how about Milwaukee and Boston? If I had a game 2 nights ago where I got a call wrong in the last 2 minutes of the game, now mind you, Tone, these are the same referees who get 95% of their calls right. 95% of the calls they get it right. But in the last 2 minutes of the game, if I get something wrong, I could be pulled off of this Milwaukee-Boston game, which, by the way, Tone, has playoff implications because that's where the money is. That's where I'm really going to get paid. If I show out, if I do my job with Boston and Milwaukee, if I do my job with Philadelphia and Denver, if I do my job in these games, referees are held accountable. The problem that we have is we still keep seeing the same referees like Scott Foster. That's the problem. We still keep seeing the same referees like Ben Taylor. We still keep seeing these guys. So there are plenty of guys, there are plenty of referees in the league that get pulled off of games for blown calls. There are plenty of referees that get pulled off of games for interaction with benches and not controlling a bench, not controlling a player, calling fouls too early, because that kind of stuff matters, Tone. If you're a referee, Tone, and you got Giannis Antetokounmpo, who you've blown a call on him for his second foul in the middle of the first quarter, now that's a problem, especially if it wasn't a foul, because now the supervisor is going to look at you and ask, what are you looking at? Why are you involving yourself in the game?
All right.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
So how do we rectify this? It's going on, Tone. I just don't think that the people that you want to see gone or you want to see dealt with more, they're not getting dealt with as much, because I don't think that they trust the younger guys, even though it is time to usher those people in. Kind of like what's going on with the Golden State Warriors.
I get that there needs to be some discretion when it comes to disciplining referees, because the second you make that public, that ref can never actually go ref another game, because the second he walks into arena and he's been publicly ostracized, he's done. His career is over. So I get the discretion part. But to your point, like, I better not see Scott Foster or Ben Taylor in the NBA Finals.
No.
Right? I better not, but I know that I will, and that's my bigger problem, is that I will. So we have one more headline, then we're going to get to more basketball, and football. We have our football brackets that we picked a couple of weeks ago. You, Haley, I and Sebastian. So I'm going to pull that up and see how we did. There's obviously some more basketball stories in terms of injuries, and of course, we got the MVP stats. But here's the last one. The last one is there's a feud going on. There's a feud going on, and I like it. And I like it. The feud between Stephen A. Smith and Jason Whitlock is beautiful. Is beautiful. I am here for it. I am waiting for it. I love it. Let me first start off by saying Jason Whitlock made one very good point. One very, very, very good point. He said, if Stephen A. Smith played one game in college, which he all said he did, that you saw it, they posted it up on the show, they showed his statistics. They showed Stephen A. Smith one game, averaged 1.5 points per game. How'd he do that?
He played in the game. Well,
how'd he score a point?
I'm about to explain this right now, Tony, because it's not just that one game. He probably was on the bench the rest of the season, and they average out how many points you averaged in addition to all the games that you played. And he might not have played many minutes. Like, he played that one game and he did score, but it's also a cumulative to how many.
Hold on.
So he didn't get into no more games. That was it.
He played one game, cracked his knee, as he said, right in half. Didn't play again. Was there a free throw that he almost made? Did he and somebody else simultaneously score a bucket, and they did it like a sack? They gave him each half a point. How did he score half a point?
Somebody's story not matching up, Tone, because I can't score 1.5 points. That's an that means you averaging out how many games I played. And if I only played one game, I average what I got in that game. That's it. If I only played one game. If I played 5 games,
anything more than one, you can average half a point. He said he took a 6-inch screw in the kneecap. There you go. Something's not matching up is the point.
That's what I'm thinking. Somebody got to get their story straight, Tone.
Does it matter? Does it take away from his ability to, analyze and debate sports? No. But is he a liar, like Jason Whitlock is saying? Maybe. Now, maybe I don't know the rest of maybe there's more, but you can't average 1.5 points in one game. That I know for a fact. You can't do it. Can't do it. So I found that part interesting. Him going on, and I think, Stephen A. Smith calling him the devil. I don't know how it all started, to be honest with you. I don't. Have you been aware of this? Okay.
I have, and to be honest with you, Tone, you know how I am about drama like that. I'm with drama in a lot of instances, but I just want to make sure that your story's straight. That's all. Like, it's Tone, we come from the era of battle rap, and if we're gonna go back and forth, your story has to match up. And if your story isn't straight, if you just rambling, then of course there's going to be an issue. So when Jason Whitlock says that in Stephen A. Smith's memoirs that in February he got picked up, he was on a basketball court in New York City in February, and he was seen. In the process of him being seen, one guy says, "Yo, we want to bring you down." That might be a little bit far-fetched. I think, but with that also being said, the flip side to that is Jason Whitlock has not been very credible, man. He hasn't been. He has not been very credible.
He hasn't been. And let me just quickly say, Jumpman Jump. I am not a guest when it comes to hip hop, because I guarantee you I've been listening to it longer than you've been alive, and I can spell guest on my first try. I don't need 3. So that being said, I'm with you. I'm probably on Stephen A's side, but I also will say, you know me, I'm equal opportunist when it comes to this stuff. I think Stephen A's full of crap. And I think he's full of crap because I think everybody's full of crap. I think everybody's taking their shots. And everyone wants to exaggerate a little. Like LeVar Ball was telling us he could beat Jordan one-on-one.
He said
Right?
he never
Like,
lost. He did say that. He said he never
you know,
lost.
am I surprised that Stephen A is trying to, like, people listen, when you're in this industry
Right.
and you don't have, you're not Gilbert Arenas, right? You're not Draymond Green, where people have seen what you've done in real time. People are going to push at you, and you can take one road and say, it doesn't matter whether I played or not. This is what I know.
Right.
Or you can try to say, well, I did play, and if it wasn't for an injury, I don't typically like that. You know me, I've never said anything about my injuries other than I was always injured.
In fact, Tone don't even like to talk about it, to be quite honest with you.
I don't. And for a long time, I remember you didn't even want to, like, I remember when we first started doing the show, we never talked about, and so that's why I just say, like, I get where Stephen A is coming from. Like when Whitlock says, I can't find a news article about you. Well, yeah, you can't find a news article about me either. I don't know how many you can find about yourself. They're hard to find from back in those days because there literally was no internet.
No, it wasn't. It was
There's
just a newspaper.
And if your newspaper wasn't widely known, like a national kind of paper that put it out there, good luck. Good luck going to the library and going through. Remember those machines?
Yes. Going through the archives and finding out from in March of 1992. Wow.
Yeah,
you're asking a lot to do that. Yes, you are.
It's tough to find. So I'm not that part. I whatever. But when there's 1.5 games in 1.5 points in one game, and you put that on ESPN on TV, well, now we got to question that. That's all I'm saying. We got to question it.
You got to ask. Yeah, wait a minute.
Now, does Jason Whitlock sound like a very bitter dude who's probably pissed off at a bunch of people because he feels he got wronged, right? Because we don't hear much about. He was on ESPN at one point, I believe.
Yes, he was.
And he was one of the ones that got cut because they paid Stephen A so much. I get it. So what am I missing any parts of the story? Like, what are the parts? Okay.
I don't think that there's anything that we left out except the fact that Stephen A ran down how many other people, Jamel Hill, Dan Lebatard, how many people have distanced themselves from this guy who says that he's one thing when in reality he's something else, and it's in the record, right? We got him on record being something else. So, like I said, Tone, I
love Jamel Hill. I've had Jamel Hill, I've had her on my other show, and I love her. So I get it. So I believe her because we've had conversations. I believe her.
Right. With that being said,
Stephen A might be the Kevin Hart of the sportscaster world, because I listened to Cat Williams for 3 hours, and there was a lot more truth than there was. Listen, there was some BS in there too, but there was a lot of truth in there too. Because I went and looked because when he said, I'm going to forget his name, Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
Oh no, he never wore a dress. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. I caught him. And everybody on TikTok tried to tell me he didn't and tried to lie. And I've showed you the damn videotape. I found it. I showed you Dave Chappelle wearing a dress. When he said these particular wives look a certain way, we went and looked at those photos. He wasn't wrong.
That's the thing, Tom.
Stole a joke. When he said Steve Harvey stole these jokes, I went back and I watched. He sure as hell stole those jokes from is it Mike Curry? I forget. Is it Michael? I think it's
Mark Curry.
Did he not have a high top fade and basically just steal everything from Hanging with Mr. Cooper when he did his show? He 100% stole. So there's a lot of truth to that. So I almost feel like I want to do let me ask you, would you watch? Maybe you do it with me. I don't know. But would you watch? What I want to do is take that 3 hours. I want to break it up into maybe 6 30-minute segments and just do reaction. I've never done a reaction video before. I feel like I want to do a reaction and show people.
That might be something that I might be down for.
You want to do that?
Again, Tone, here's the great thing about today. The great thing about today is, like, when I say something or when you say something, it's on record. So we can go back and fact check you. So if I say something,
we're about to do that with our picks. I'm not going to like it because I don't think
exactly. So when I say something, Tone is one of the first people to go, okay, wait a minute. Let's make sure we got that right. Let's hold on. Nope, that's not correct, Jay. Nope, that's not what it is. So more times than not, when you saying something, more times than not, when you're talking, you need to be factual with what you're saying. Otherwise, you're going to trip yourself up. So when a guy like Stephen A. Smith tells us about Jason Whitlock, and he has receipts, emails, other people vouching for him, and don't get me wrong, one person can say something and it could just mean nothing. Tone, 2, 3, 4, 5 people ain't telling the same lie. That's not the way that works. No. When one person vouches for you, it's one thing. When you got 3, 4, 5 people telling the same lie, no. It takes too much in terms of a conspiracy to keep that thing going. Eventually, somebody in the group is going to crack.
Okay. So back to our regularly scheduled program. It's called Fluent and Chill. I like the headlines. This is
no dope.
We
got optics here. We got graphics. Check us out, man. Like
I had some time on my hands. I'm available for hire if you if anybody needs anything. We've had a slew. What do you want to do? Do you want to go basketball? Or you want to go football?
Let's start with the football, Tone, because I definitely want to get into that.
Okay, so let's get into football. I'm gonna pull this up. These are the picks that we made, and then I'm also gonna pull up the actuals. So our guy Sebastian came on a couple of weeks ago. He made a nice little chart. He sent it over to me, so I appreciate it. If you're here, Sebastian, let me know. I'll pull you up. And we made our picks, and he sent it to me in a beautiful Excel file that I found. Excellent. And then I'm going to pull up who actually made it. So let's go through the AFC first. Can you pull up the AFC?
Can I pull up the AFC?
The AFC, who's the rankings,
the rankings. I don't have it. Hold on. Let's see what we got here, Tom. I can tell you right now. Let me see here. Yep, let's see what we got.
All right, so if we can pull it up and let's see how many you got correct. I'll just score keep over here. All right, so we got Miami. You had Miami as the number 1 seed.
I did have Miami as the number 1 seed.
They are not the number 1 seed, so let me put here.
Nope, I did not. I did not get that right. They're the 3 seed.
Well, hold on. We'll get Haley and Sebastian. Okay, so Chill's number 1 seed in the AFC. Incorrect. Number 2, you had Baltimore, so that's obviously wrong. Number 3, you had Jacksonville.
Jacksonville is out the playoffs. Bye.
Out the playoffs.
They're not even in it. Yeah, they're gone. So forget them. That was wrong. Yeah, that was wrong.
Number 4, you had the Kansas City Chiefs. I believe they are the
5th.
No, they're not.
Yeah, you got Baltimore. You got Baltimore, Buffalo. I'm sorry. You got Baltimore, Buffalo. Who won the AFC? Wait a minute. That's not correct.
No. I think you have. I know the Chiefs won their division, so they.
I'm sorry. I apologize, Tom. So Kansas City is 3. They're not the 5th seed. They're the 3rd seed.
Is 3. Okay,
yeah,
Kansas
City is 3rd seed. Yes, they were the 3rd seed. I'm sorry.
So unfortunately, that's also incorrect.
That's incorrect.
That's incorrect. Number 5, you had. What's up? Number 5, you had. Oh, sorry. Let me pull up my list here. Number 5, you had the Cleveland Browns.
I had that right.
You're gonna pull it. Yeah, pull it up when you can, Sebastian.
I did have that right.
You had Cleveland Browns at 5. Okay.
I did have that right.
Bills at 6.
Nope, I had that wrong. Miami's at 6.
And the Houston Texans at 7.
Nope, Houston's 4. Pittsburgh is 7. So I had that wrong.
So
I think I only got 1 right. Yeah, I only got 1 right. That's Cleveland. Garbage. Trash.
You're good. You did good. I'm about to pull it up right now. You actually did a really good show.
Straight trash. Garbage.
I also had Miami at 1, so that's wrong. Baltimore at 2, that's wrong. I had Kansas City at 3, that is correct. Houston Texans at 4, that is also correct. Cleveland Browns at 5, that is correct. Buffalo Bills at 6.
That is incorrect.
That is incorrect. And then I had the Pittsburgh Steelers at 7.
That is correct.
That is also correct. So I got
You got
1,
four.
2, 3, 4. All right, 4 out of 7. That's a passing grade. I'm in junior high with a B+ grade. At the end of the day, I don't hit the arcade. That's for you, Jumpman. All right, so let's see.
Oh, can you see it? Oh.
No. Oh, yeah. Oh, you have it? Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So this is what I did actually.
Oh, no. Don't. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Actually color coded.
You color coded them all? Look at
I
this.
did.
Look at
Alright,
this.
So basically, if it's green, correct, that means you got the right team. You just didn't get in the right spot. If you got it gold, that means you got the correct team and in the perfect spot.
Sebastian, you're hired. So Chill got 1. We can do this so much faster. Chill got 1. I got 4. Haley got 4, but I got. So let me be clear. I got 4 in the right order, but I got all 7 teams right.
This is what I was thinking, Fluent,
Okay.
right?
So Chill got 1 right, but he got 6 of the 7 teams right, just in the wrong order. Haley got 4 right and 4 teams right. So she got 3 teams wrong. You got 3 right and 6 of the teams right. So it looks like I'm the clear-cut winner here.
Wait. Let me speak this out. All right. Let me see if you guys can go along with this. So this is what I was thinking. So for the red, obviously you get 0 points. For the greens, you get 1, and for the golds, you get 2. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's absolutely fair.
Okay, so let's grade these, right? You want to grade these right now?
Yeah, let's grade them. So he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 points.
Exactly. He's got 7 points.
Okay. I got 1, 2, 3, 2, 4, 6, 8. So I got 11 points.
11 points. Yeah.
11 points. Haley got 2, 4, 6, 8 points. And you got 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 points.
9 points.
So I won. I love it. All right.
We still got the NFC to go.
That's right.
Wait. This is where you pull
Oh,
through.
wait. I don't want to see the NFC. I probably.
Yeah. Look at that show.
Ooh.
Look at that show.
I clearly know my AFC better than my NFC. Damn. So Chill got 4 right, 6 of the 7 teams in the NFC.
Yeah.
I will admit. Yeah. Oh, so yeah. Count up his points. Just hold on.
I think that's 10 points.
I will admit I tried to get a little crazy with the NFC. So you got 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10 points. So you got 10 points. Nice work, Chill. All right. And then I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 points. This is going to be hilarious in a second. Haley got 2, 4, 6, 7, 8 points.
Mm-hmm.
And you got 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 points.
That's how these up.
But how do we know you didn't change yours?
What do you mean? We could go back and look at it. I have the live.
I don't know, because Chill, do you believe this? You got 17. I got 17. Haley got 16, and somehow Sebastian got 18 and 1.
Hey, we can look back at it.
Sounds crazy. I don't know. This doesn't really. This don't.
Hey,
really
you know what? I've got this water.
Yeah, I think I got this water.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm gonna have to go check. check.
I don't really know. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm straight.
You did good. You did good on the NFC. You got Green Bay, Chill. I didn't expect you to make it.
Jay, you killed the NFC. All right.
I'm an NFC guy, so what can I say? I am an NFC guy.
Sebastian, appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for color coding that. Appreciate it. Thanks, brother. Yep. He did good work. That was nice color coded.
I'm an NFC guy, so more times than not, when we're talking about the NFC, because I watch the NFC more than I watch the AFC. That's not to say that I don't watch the AFC, but I'm an NFC dude. Like in the NBA, I'm an Eastern Conference guy. I watch the Western Conference 100%, but I'm more of an Eastern Conference guy. Just like in baseball.
I'm going to let's do this real quick. We'll finish the football because we got a lot of basketball to end the show on. Mm-hmm. Here are the games. Let's make our picks for this week. Mm-hmm. Browns. We're starting off Saturday. Browns and Texans.
Browns and Texans. We'll start Saturday with the Browns and the Texans. I'm gonna take Houston, Tom.
Jay,
I like what you're doing.
I'm with you.
I'm taking Houston
too. I think
even though they got a rook quarterback, and that defense could screw him up, I just think that he's better than. Actually, you know what? They got Flacco back there in Cleveland. No, I'm taking Cleveland.
What?
I'm taking Cleveland. Flacco is rolling, Tom. I'm taking Cleveland. He ain't losing to a rook quarterback. Nope, not happening.
Listen, I'm the AFC guy. You should have listened to me. Now you're going to be wrong. Okay, you got the Browns. I got the Texans. No problem. No problem. I'll take that all day long. All right, Dolphins, and Chiefs.
It's going to be freezing in Kansas City. As good as Patrick Mahomes, I don't think he's lost the home playoff. Last time he lost at home in the playoffs, he lost to Cincinnati. He lost to Tom Brady. I mean, they could lose. They could be had at home, but I'm taking the home team.
So we are both on the chefs.
Mm-hmm.
We're both on the chefs. Dolphins not going to get it done in the cold weather. I agree with you. Steelers, Bills.
I think Buffalo wins in a dogfight. I think that they win in a dogfight.
As you know, Buffalo is my ipso facto home team because they're the closest NFL team to my city. So I am not betting against the Bills. I am also on with the Bills. Although, because who's the Steelers quarterback?
What is this
Exactly. Who's the Steelers quarterback? Thank you. Next up, we've got the Packers and your favorite team. How about them Cowboys?
I think Green Bay beats them. I do. It's the Cowboys. I think Green Bay gets them. I do.
You're taking the Cowboys.
I'm taking Green Bay.
I'm sorry. You're taking Green Bay.
I'm taking Green Bay. I think they beat them. I do.
You are taking Green Bay. I'm going to tell you that Green Bay is 9-1 in their last 10 playoff games against the Dallas Cowboys. And I'm going Big Blue. I'm not Big Blue. That's the job. I'm taking the star on my helmet. I'm going Dallas. I'm a Bears fan. You think I'm gonna ever pick Green Bay to win anything?
No, never.
Never. We should have knocked them out of the playoffs when we had the chance. All right. Next, we got two more games. We got the Rams and the Lions. Rams and the Lions. You're making a pick, or are you watching a game?
Oh, I'm sorry. I got wrapped up in Milwaukee. I apologize, Tone. They smoking Boston right now. Rams and the Lions. This is kind of coincidental, Tone, because Matt Stafford going back to Detroit.
Hold on, Jay. Every single one of these games is NFL scripted. Check this out. You ready?
I'm listening.
The Browns and the Texans. Well, the Browns, it's supposed to be Deshaun Watson facing his old team in Houston.
That is supposed to be what's going on.
That's supposed to be what's going on. The Browns and the Texans made that big trade. That's why the Texans are so good. It's because of everything they got, and it should have been. Right? Watson got, okay. Then you got the Dolphins and Chiefs. Tyreek Hill coming back home to Kansas City.
Back to Kansas City, sure.
Steelers and the Bills. I don't know what the thing is there. I'm sure there is something, Steelers and the Bills. I just can't remember. I'm sure there is something. Green Bay and Dallas. Well, that's Mike McCarthy, former Green Bay coach, now the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes.
You got the Rams and the Lions. Well, Goff goes to the Super Bowl and loses with the Rams. Matthew Stafford goes and takes them and wins the Super Bowl. So you got Goff versus Stafford. So go ahead. Who's your pick in that one?
I want the Rams gone, to be honest with you. But
you are such a San Francisco homer. You say me that I'm a homer, and I do. Like,
I want the Rams gone.
The 49ers.
I want the Rams gone. But I will tell you this, Tone. Detroit's on a mission this season. I think they make some noise in the playoffs. I think they beat the Rams.
So you got Detroit.
Yep.
I'm gonna go with the Rams. I'm gonna go with the Rams for this one simple reason. If it was any other situation, I would have taken the Lions. But I feel like Sean McVay knows Jared Goff better than anyone. And he is going to make him look horrible. And if Goff doesn't have a good game, the Lions don't win. So I'm taking the Rams strictly for that. Sean McVay doing some stuff.
Now remember, Tone,
I'll bring you up. Leaf. We're bringing people up, but later. Yeah,
Tone, you the same one, Tone, that told me that at some point Matt Stafford could throw 4 interceptions in a game. Didn't he lead the league?
Absolutely.
I think he led the league in interceptions the year that they won the Super Bowl. So
But
It's
I
not
really,
like you can't compete.
listen. I really like the Rams with a healthy Stafford who can also throw 5 touchdowns in a game as quickly
Yes,
as
he
he
can.
can.
Yes, he could do that. Yes, he
With
can.
him with Puka, and I believe Cooper Kupp's going to be healthy, and this running back Karen Williams that they found is killing it. So the Rams now have an offense, and I think their defense will give them enough. Like I said, only because of the familiarity between Sean McVay and Jared Goff. The last one, you've got the Philadelphia Eagles taking on Margarine Mayfield. You're right, he's better than Butter. I can't believe he's not Butter. He's Margarine. Margarine Mayfield and the Bucks.
Tone. Philly is a dumpster fire, and Philly is a dumpster fire. They've lost 4 of their last 5. That defense is atrocious. I think they're out. I think they're out in the divisional round. Out. They go to Tampa and they lose.
If the Eagles lose to the Bucks, I will buy a Butter Mayfield jersey and wear it proudly next episode if I can get it in time or as quickly as I can. Okay, I'm going with the EAGLES Eagles. 1, because it's Fluent Junior's favorite team, and if I don't, he'll get mad. And 2, because I am never betting for Margarine Mayfield ever to win a playoff game. Hell no. So let me just quickly go down. Browns and Texans. You got the Browns. I got the Texans. Dolphins, Chiefs. We're both on the Chiefs. Steelers, Bills. We both got the Bills. Green Bay, Dallas. You got Green Bay in an upset. I got Dallas. Rams. I got the Rams. You got the Lions. Eagles and Bucks. I got the Eagles. You got the Bucks. It should be a good weekend of football. MVP conversation coming up. First, quickly, I want to ask you about some big injuries. John Morant, Tyrese Halliburton, just crazy accidents or style of play.
Tone, you can appreciate this when it comes to injuries. I think there's some years where whatever can go wrong will go wrong, and I think that's what's going on in Memphis this year. They lost Marcus Smart. He's out of the lineup for another 6 weeks, and this team now doesn't have Ja. Steven Adams is out for the whole season. Marcus Smart, this is his second stint being out for an extended period of time. I feel like this Memphis team, this is a just throwaway season. Kind of like what happened with the Warriors when Steph Curry broke his hand. Like whatever can go wrong will go wrong. Then Klay Thompson tore up his Achilles. That's kind of what's going on right now with the Memphis Grizzlies. And it will, I think it'll get better later on, but as of right now, I think this season is a wash for the Memphis Grizzlies. They're just playing for pride more than anything. As far as Tyrese Halliburton, well, turns out it wasn't as bad as people thought it was going to be. Well, he's basically like he'll be reevaluated in 2 weeks, so he could possibly be running again. He could be possibly running again in 2 weeks. So with that being said, I think that this is less worse than what's going on in Memphis.
Draymond Green is back from his suspension. It ended up being 12 games. Too much, too little, just right. Can you get therapy that fast?
I don't know if it's therapeutic, Tone, more than it is, like I told you before, the union was happy with the indefinite suspension. So now, if we have another incident, they could wash their hands with it, and he could be done for the season. If we have something ridiculous again like this, where we got antics, where he gets into a fight, don't get me wrong, Tone. You know, technical fouls. That's part of. That's just part of being fiery. I got no problem with that. But if we see something like we saw in the past with him jumping on Rudy Gobert, with him hitting Nurkic in the head, if we see something like that, an elbow to the face, something like that, there will be no benefit of the doubt. There will be no benefit of the doubt. And him getting suspended like he got suspended, there seems to be some contrition there. And there seems to be some accountability. But I don't think that there's much that's going to change. I don't think that there's much that's going to change.
Okay. Yeah, I'd just be repeating everything you said, so I'm going to move on to the next thing, which is this. Rarely do we have a trade that actually works out for both teams.
Right.
Rarely do we have that. But I think the Knicks and the Raptors pulled off a trade, and we talked about the trade before, so we're not going to jump into the trade too much, but I think this is a trade that helped out every player involved and both teams. The Raptors look better. They look happier. RJ Barrett looks better. IQ looks happier than I've ever seen him look. And OG looks like a different person. He's grabbing the microphone in Madison Square Garden and talking on the mic. We didn't see him.
I've never seen him talk ever. He's one of the quietest guys.
And let me just throw this out there. I don't know what's happening if there's a game on tonight, but prior to this, the Knicks, since the trade, are 5-0. OG Anunoby is plus 111.
Yes.
No one in the history of the NBA in their first 5 games with the new franchise has ever been plus minus over 100 points. He just looks like he's fitting in. And this is what I said to you. His defense is exactly what they needed, but he's also doing it. He's doing it on both ends. He looks like he's just perfectly fit for that team. Is that fool's gold?
I don't know if it's fool's gold, Tone. I think it's actually legit. And the reason why I feel like it's legit is because he seems to be a Tibbs guy. Most guys that you watch, when they fit into teams, they fit right into systems. And OG Anunoby fits into that system. Wing defender, can knock down an open shot, can score, tough as nails, versatile on the defensive end. It's not a coincidence, Tone, that him getting on this roster, the 5 games that they've won in a row, they've held teams to under 100 points. That's not a coincidence since that happened.
This is an all defensive.
Yes,
all defensive first team, second team for sure.
This is an all league defender who bolsters that defense, and it's infectious, right? So you got a team that when they're playing defense like that, right? When they playing defense like that, now it turns into even better offense. I mean, Brunson is averaging 9 assists over the last 5 games, and the reason why he's doing that is because they're playing defense and they're holding teams down and they're speeding the game up a lot more. So that helps them out. This guy Hartenstein, he's just been so much of a breath of fresh air for this crew. I still think he's a backup 5, Tone. I don't think that he's a starting 5 man, but I think he's one of the better backups in the game. I look at him like I looked at what JaVale McGee was doing, or what Dwight Howard was doing when he was with the Lakers. A guy who could fill in for your legit 5. That's how I feel about him. He cleans glass. I think over the last 5 games, he's 14 rebounds and 2 blocks per game. That's a big deal for this Knicks team. I don't think this is fool's gold in the aspect of what he brings to that unit. A lot of people didn't think that it would make much difference, but it really does help that team. It helps them defensively.
Speaking of trades,
yep.
Do you think it would be a good trade for both teams if the Wizards traded Jordan Poole and Patrick Baldwin Jr. and a first and a second, for DeJounte Murray and Sadiq Bey? That's part 2, and Sadiq Bey.
So DeJounte Murray,
Patrick Baldwin Jr., a couple of draft picks for Patrick Baldwin
Murray and Sadiq Bey.
Jay Poole, Patrick Baldwin, for DeJounte, and a couple of picks for DeJounte Murray and Sadiq Bey.
I don't know if that makes Atlanta better with Jordan Poole, because you still have a guy who doesn't play defense in Jordan Poole. He's a shot chucker, and with another shot chucker.
I would love to see Trae Young and Jordan Poole.
Can you imagine what that would look like, Tone? Those 2 guys in the backcourt. I mean, you saw Steph Curry throwing his mouthpiece. What you think Trae Young would do, running with that dude? Right?
I would love it. That team might score team might score 200 points.
Absolutely.
They might also score 12.
Yeah, right.
Just go for 100.
You could definitely see that. Yes, you could definitely see that. So
it'd be fun. I think everyone just wants to free DeJounte Murray. I think that's really what, like, everyone is coming up with trades. Thank you, Fluent Jr., for that trade request. I like it. Everyone's just trying to get Murray out of Atlanta, which I don't hate. Our main topic of the day, if you saw the thumbnail, you know what's so funny? You can only put so much on a thumbnail. And so I threw up, I want to say 4. I think I threw up Jokic, Doncic, SGA, and Embiid. two of the two previous MVPs and two of the front runners for the MVP this year. And do you know what the first comment of the day was on our before we even started the show?
What?
How do you not have Giannis up there when you're talking about MVPs? You guys are so disrespectful. You haters.
Here we go.
And if I had Giannis instead of Embiid, how do you not have Embiid up there? He won the MVP last year. You haters. So listen, it wasn't personal. Giannis is my favorite player in the NBA. So
that's because he's Greek, just so you guys know.
And because he's great. And because he's great. And
he's great and Greek.
He is Greek. And he did one of the most wonderful things the other day. There's this kid who flies from Greece to, I want to say, not to Milwaukee, but somewhere close to Milwaukee for treatment. He's in a wheelchair. I believe he's a paraplegic. And he's young, he's a kid. And so they were like, hey, we got you he's with the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and they brought him to the Bucks game. Yeah, he called, and he speaks Greek, like he's from Greece. So he comes over to Giannis. Him and Giannis are having this really great conversation. One of the advantages of speaking Greek, so I can understand it. And he's being super nice to this kid. And he says, hey, do you want me to sign your jersey? He said, yes. And, how are you doing in school? Like, he's just having a regular conversation with him, right? He goes, don't go anywhere after the game. I'm going to come back. I'm going to give you, I'm going to autograph, give you my shoes, give you blah, 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 blah. I'm just like, this dude does not just super, he was just so good to people. He's such, I get it on the court. Sometimes we question, if he's a little bit, but I mean, he is such a nice dude. So no disrespect to Giannis. So that being said, our main topic of the day, I had this beautiful banner. For our headlines. I'm going to just run it for now. MVP, but not who's going to win the MVP. Why do we think this person's going to win the MVP? My question is this. What, if any, stats help or hurt an MVP candidate the most? If you had to kind of prioritize them.
Right.
What do you think?
Well, when you look at I went back and did some homework, Tone, and there's two stats. I knew
you would.
Yeah, I did. I went back and did some homework, Tone, and the two stats that were the most glaring to me, one of them was PER. And PER, which as you guys all know, is player efficiency, right? So I went back 30 seasons. So it wasn't like it was a small sample size of 2 or 3 years. No, I went back 30 years. And in the 30 years, I found out that 23 of the 30 players who won the league MVP finished top 3 in PER. 23 of them. That's almost 80%. That's almost 4 out of every 5 guys that win the league MVP. If you're looking at PER, your top 3 guys, more times than not, it's going to be your top 3 guys are going to be your league MVP. Now, there are exceptions. Derrick Rose finished 9th in 2011. Kobe finished 8th in 2008, which I thought was crazy. Steve Nash was the ridiculous exception because he finished in the top 15. He finished 14th and 17th. But for the most part,
I don't even get me started on those, but go ahead.
I won't get you started. For the most part, of these 23 guys, Tone, who finished in the top 3 in PER, 1, 2, 3, 4. So almost 20 of them, 19 of those 30 guys finished number 1. 19 of those guys finished number 1. That tells me that PER, that means that means PER
is a major contributor.
PER is a major contributor. The other major contributor that I saw was value over replacement player. Now, if you think about what the MVP is, most valuable player, value over replacement player. So
that one makes sense.
Yes, that would definitely make sense. And again, Tone, I went back 30 seasons. And in the 30 seasons that I went back, the only 2 guys that didn't finish in the top 3, Allen Iverson and Steve Nash. Everybody else finished in the top 3. in value over replacement player, including having, I believe it was 19 guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 guys finished number 1. So if you're going to win the league MVP, if you're looking for the league MVP, right? If you're looking for the league MVP today, look no further than who's at the top of the league in PER and who's at the top of the league in value over replacement player. That's your winner right there.
All right. So did you happen to look and see in today's NBA?
Yeah. And in today's NBA, the top 3 guys, if I'm not mistaken, in today's NBA during this season, I want to make sure that I don't get this wrong. But
Okay.
in this season, in the 23-24 season, the 3 guys at the top of the league in PER are Embiid, Joker, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Those are the 3 guys at the top of the league as of right now. Yep. And it's not a coincidence, Stone, because you and I have had this conversation about how important winning is, right? Because last year, Philly was a top 3 seed. Philly was a top 3 seed last year. Joker was an exception when he won it when they were 6th. And Russell Westbrook was an exception when he was 6th. Other than that, all the league MVPs going back 40 years hosted a playoff series. So you got to win, high PER, and high value over replacement player. That's your league MVP. And of these 3 guys, I personally think that it's Joker. And just so we clear, Tone, you know that we have these guidelines this season where you have to have a specific amount of games to play. So Embiid has already passed the halfway point. He's missed 9 games so far. So he's got 8 more games, Tone, before he's eliminated. And we're not halfway through the season yet. We're not halfway through the season
You
yet.
think he's going to disqualify himself based on games?
He might, because this knee injury is worse than people realize. He's had this knee injury for quite a while, and I don't think that it's something that can be taken lightly. It's been something that's always been an issue with him. So knee swelling, knee soreness, I don't think it's something that's that you could take lightly. No.
So okay, so here's the thing. So I pulled it up. So in PER you got Embiid 1, Joker 2, SGA 3, Giannis 4, Luka 5.
Yeah.
In value over replacement, you got Jokic 1, SGA 2, Luka 3, Embiid 4, Giannis 5. But I think you missed one important stat that I believe only 2 times in the history of the NBA, maybe 3, but I believe 2 in the history of the MVP. Only 2, maybe 3, you'll correct me, I know. Players have been on a team that was lower than a 4 seed.
Mm-hmm.
So when I look at Boston, Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Indiana, so I've got Milwaukee. Is it a seed in their conference, or is it a seed in the NBA?
It's a seed in their conference.
In their conference, okay.
Yes.
So you got Embiid as the 3 seed.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Jokic is the 3 seed, so we're good there. SGA is the 2 seed. Giannis is the 2 seed.
Mm-hmm.
And then Luka, who's the only other one that's in top 5 in both of those things, is the 7 seed. So Luka, again,
he might be your odd man out.
An exception. There might be an exception. So you're thinking Luka's out.
He might be your odd man out
because of record. That may change. There's a lot of basketball left to play.
Right. It is.
You believe Embiid only has 8 more games to miss, so he might not qualify. So we're going to eliminate Embiid.
I'm not sure he's going to hold up. I'm not. So
now we're looking at Jokic, SGA, and Giannis. So you're thinking it's a 3-man race. And when we look at this, Jokic is 2 in PER, 1 in value replacement. SGA is 3 and 2, so right behind Jokic. And Giannis is 4 and 5. This is looking like Jokic's 3rd MVP
in 4 years.
I
think that's your winner right there, Tom.
And
don't leave out leave out where Denver is in terms of where they are in the Western Conference. They're in 3rd place. They're half a game. I believe they're a game and a half out of first. So they're still at the top of the Western Conference. They're not a team that's not very good. Don't get me wrong. I think that they've dropped 2 of their last 3 games, but they're still at the top of the Western Conference. And they may look at Joker. They may look at Joker like what he's doing, and Giannis is a victim of this too. They may look at him like what he's doing isn't a big deal. This is normal for you, as opposed to if he was. I think this season, I think he's 25 or 26, 13, and 9. Now, if that 26 was 29, and that 13 was 14, and that 9 was 11, that might be overwhelming. But there's other guys in the conversation. I think that from the stats that you just talked about, we talked about PER, record, and value over replacement player. I think that Denver's going to be at the top of the Western Conference before the season is over. It's going to be between them, Minnesota, and Oklahoma City, barring any injuries. And I think he finishes 1 or 2.
I'm gonna go with they're gonna take SGA is gonna win his. That's what I'm thinking.
If he wins the league MVP, wow.
That's what I'm thinking.
Man, if
It
he
makes
wins the league
it
MVP.
makes sense. It makes sense because Giannis. I think you're right. I'm agreeing with everything that you're saying. I don't think they're going to give it to Luka as a 7 seed in the West.
Right.
Again, as it stands today, things may change.
Right.
Embiid, I think you're right. He probably is he going to miss 2-3 more games before the All-Star game break? Probably. Will he miss 5 games after that? Probably. He might. No, he might not. Excuse me. So I think it's a 3-person race. Giannis has won it a couple of times already. Jokic has won it a couple of times already. As much as I disagree, they're going to look at the surprising guy and be like, and it's OKC. I feel like the league thinks they owe OKC something. They do not.
They do not.
But I feel like they do. And so I wouldn't be surprised if he won. I personally would think it should, for me, it's between Jokic and Giannis, but I don't think that's I hate the fact that winning takes you out of the conversation. So anyway, so that being said, I've sent the link out. Leaf is chomping at the bit to come on. So he's gonna like you today because you picked the Packers and he's wearing a Green Bay hat. So I'm bring Leaf in. I'm gonna send the link out for anybody else that also wants to join. Is there anything else? Did I miss any of our topics before I?
No, we were going to talk about the power rankings. We
could do the power rankings. We could do the power rankings, but let's bring on Leaf. I know that he wants to talk about football. So let's jump in.
Mm-hmm.
What's up? What's up, Jordan Love?
It's not Jordan Love. It's called "We Gonna Run the Football Down Your effing throat." That's what it's called. That's what it's called.
Just so you know, Tone, he was out. He didn't think that his boys was making the playoffs. He was out on his boys.
You gave up on them
after we lost to the Giants. And
that's a yes or no question, Leaf. Yes or no?
At one point, yeah.
Okay, that's all. That's all.
At one point, yeah. But it wasn't no. I don't know why you did that. How you gonna pick us to win this weekend and then gonna throw that out there? I don't know how you did.
The reason why is because you and I have had this conversation throughout the season. You know how I feel about Jordan Love and how they've been developing him. You know how much I dig him, and the fact that they didn't give up on him, the fact that they developed him, and the fact that your wide receiving core has gotten better.
Right.
And ultimately, it's the Cowboys, Lee.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah. That too.
It's the Cowboys.
But you left one thing out. Better play calling, and we got back Aaron Jones.
Right.
The running game is back to being as efficient as it could be. Because the thing is, Jordan Love doesn't have to throw the ball over 30 times a game because now you got running backs. You got A.J. Dillon to take the hits, and you got Aaron Jones to take basically as a 3-down back. You basically got 2 3-down backs in the backfield.
You ain't asking him to win it, right? And you're not asking him to win. You're not asking Jordan Love to win.
Yeah. You're not asking him to win. You just asking him to stand in the pocket, make the right plays, and manage because that's what he is right now. Oh, and by the way, we're gonna win the whole NFC, man. So I ain't even worried about that. But that's gonna happen. That's gonna happen easy, bro. Like, listen, none of these teams stand a chance.
Tone, this is why I have.
It is what it is.
Tone, you know that guy that you kind of agree with him in some things, and then he just goes off the rails. That's Leaf. That's who Leaf
No, it
is.
ain't.
So you
No,
believe
it ain't.
you believe
That's
they're
who
going
Leaf
to
is.
you believe the Packers are going to run the ball down the Cowboys' throat, and that's going to be the game. Sebastian, are you awake? Are you sleeping?
No,
not
I'm
this
here.
dude. What this guy?
What do you believe? You're a Cowboys fan. Do you believe that's likely to happen? That the Packers are going to run the ball down your guys' throat?
Absolutely not. No.
Of course he doesn't believe that, bro. That like he didn't believe that the Golden State Warriors would be going through what they going through.
What do you
Let's
think?
get
What do
started.
you
Let's
think?
stick to
What do you
football. Let's
think's
stick
going
to
to happen?
football.
What do you
my
think's
God.
going to happen in this game? What do you think's going to happen?
I
First
think
of all,
that what?
Sebastian is the Leaf. Sebastian
Let
is
him
the dude.
finish. Let him
He'll
say his piece,
throw
man.
firecrackers and then run. That's who this dude is. He's a troll, B.
I always stick
100%.
to business, chill. I always
Oh,
pull
he
up when I
is.
have to.
He's a straight troll. He's the same dude in my comments saying that, yo, you see Chill with the Miami Heat cup. You know how old this cup is? I got that cup 10 years ago when they had Chris Bosh. See what I'm talking about? This dude is a troll, B. He's the epitome of
I
that.
don't
Give me a break.
Rough
I
topic.
see Chilltown
Rough
always got a
topic.
backstory for everything that he got, bro.
This dude is wow, B. Super wow.
Nah, I think Sebastian is a stand-up guy, but the problem with
he's
him
not. No, he's
Wow.
Nah,
not.
I really
No,
think he
he's
is,
not,
right? Because
bro.
I hung out with him, bro. Like, so I'm
No.
in different. And
No, I'm not
we move
lying.
around in different spaces, but I think he's stand. I think he's a pretty
Alright.
solid, okay guy.
Let's get back.
I'm
Thank you
good.
guys. Let's get back to the
I'm
game.
good.
Let's get back to the game.
Who-
I don't think the Packers defense is good enough to stick around with that Dallas offense. Honestly, I don't see it. The way I look at it, the Cowboys defense is better than the Packers offense, and the Cowboys offense is way better than the Packers defense.
Well, it's the way that you see it, and it's what's gonna happen. What's gonna happen is, time of possession. That's the one thing that we're good at. When you run the ball effectively, and you could stop the run in the second half of the game, you got a recipe to win the game, especially in the postseason and the playoffs in the NFL. So, I mean, and plus it's the Cowboys, man, and I don't know how you. I don't know
That's
how you,
more than anything. No matter what else you say, Lee. You can talk about how good Jordan Love got to be. You can talk about the defense. You can talk about your run game. You can talk about the tight ends. At the end of the day, the one glaring hole, it's the Cowboys.
Chill. This is gonna
It's
come
the
back to you. This is coming back to you. This is gonna be
It's not.
karma for other
It's
stuff.
it's
You know who you
not.
gotta face in the
not.
NFC Championship. In the
It's not.
NFC Champion, you know who you're gonna face in the NFC Championship game.
No,
You don't
no,
need to
no.
hide it. You don't need to hide
I
it,
know
Chill.
I know who he's gonna face next round, because after we finish with them Cowboys, we gonna handle our business out on out in what is it, Candlestick Park, or whatever the hell it is.
Levi Stadium, brother. Levi
Stadium, whatever it is. Now they turn their shit into jeans. Now we gonna handle it our business out there, bro.
Are you picking the Packers to make the Super Bowl? Is that what I'm hearing?
That's what he said.
I'm definitely picking the Packers to win the NFC.
Oh my
sure.
god.
So they're going to the bowl game now. This is a team
Oh,
that
yeah.
wasn't making the
Oh, yeah.
playoffs. Now they going to the bowl game. Okay,
This was
I
hold on.
take-
Listen,
Hold on. You're
Chilltown.
telling me that a team in week 18 that had to beat the sorry ass Bears to even make the playoffs is now going to the Super Bowl?
Listen. First off,
That's what you're saying. Yes, that's what you're saying.
Fluent. We was gonna whoop y'all ass anyway.
I understand that. I understand that. Listen. I already told you. Aaron Rodgers signed over ownership to Jordan Love. I get it. Forget our team. We stink. My point is, that's what you're telling me, though. A team that had to win in Week 18 is now going to the Super Bowl.
That's exactly what I'm telling you. Because the NFL, most of what the NFL is momentum. And once you get that momentum, and you could get the ground game established, bro, and you could get momentum in the second half of the game, and mostly the second half of the season, bro, that's a recipe to win. Mind you, bro, we got mind you, I left out our big wins against Kansas City and the Detroit Lions on Thanksgiving Day.
You lost
and
the
we stomped
Giants.
the mud hole in their ass. And we're gonna deal with
You
them
lost the
too, just
Giants.
like the rest of these sorry teams in the NFC. So it doesn't even matter. The Cowboys don't
You
matter.
almost lost to
the
the
Niners
Panthers.
don't matter.
The
The
Panthers
Lions
dropped
don't matter.
30
None of these
points.
teams
The
matter.
Carolina Panthers dropped 30 points on the Green Bay defense.
Yeah, and we still won the game. But they listen, don't matter if you win by a mile or a yard. Winning is winning. You know what I'm saying? So the
you
thing
got
is,
some nerve talking about somebody losing to somebody when Arizona owns you dudes. Owns y'all. I think they've lost in Arizona 8 times in the last 10 years. Arizona owns you. You got some nerve talking about them losing to somebody. You got to be kidding me.
I actually wanted to come up here to talk to see if Chilltown was watching these sorry ass Celtics which I'm watching right now.
I think they're down by almost 40. It is terrible.
Yeah. This is a disgrace, and
Yeah.
and it comes down to
I think
what
they're
I
gonna make it
said.
respectable though. I do think
Yeah,
that.
yeah. But
I
a few
do
questions
think
I
they're gonna
wanted
make
to
it
ask before I get out of here. But
Yeah.
can the Knicks beat the Celtics in the 7-game series?
No, but I think it'll be a dogfight.
Maybe.
Can the Knicks beat the Bucks in the 7-game series?
No.
Maybe.
Can the Knicks beat
Maybe.
Miami in the
I
7-game
think they have a
series?
better chance. Hold on. I think they have a better chance of beating the Bucks because they've got zero perimeter defense, and Jalen Brunson might average 35 a night.
I give you that, but he was doing that against Miami, and we seen what happened in that series. But
Julius Randle is the linchpin.
As the only person who can pronounce this person's name, I think OG Anunoby is going to be a difference maker.
oh my God,
I think he is too. I do. I think he is too, and I think Julius Randle's game has to translate in the postseason. It has to translate.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, Jay. When not if. When Julius Randle averages 8, 10, whatever, 12 points less a game in the playoffs, right? That's where OG, I think, will be able to step up and average 5 or 6.
No, that doesn't supplement that. No, even with OG doing what he's doing, that doesn't supplement what Julius Randle brings to them. So if Julius Randle falls off a cliff, he can't make up for that. Because now Tone, because what you're doing is
drop off a little bit better.
Fluent.
No, Tone. Here's why, Tone.
I heard you was going out for the draft. You might need to be drug tested because there's no way. Listen, I'm telling you right now, it's at least 5 teams in the East that the Knicks can definitely not beat in the 7-game series. At least 4 of them.
You don't like the Knicks, Leaf. You don't like
4 of those teams. Listen. The Knicks series against Miami last year was like the first fight between Deontay Wilder and Fury. If they couldn't beat him when Jimmy Butler was limping, they ain't gonna never beat them.
Hold on. Two things. One, I want the Knicks to fail miserably because I want that GM job. Two. Am I watching this correctly? Am I seeing this correctly? What? I'm trying to get my fireworks to come up, but. Hold on. No, I mean when I do this, I get
balloons pop up.
Yeah, it's. But listen, when I do this, watch what happens. When I do this,
it only happens when he tries not to do.
It's only it only does. It only works when I don't want to.
Timing is bad.
Anyways, it doesn't matter. Check this out. Is this correct though? Are the Bucks beating the Celtics 75-38? Is that?
Yes, they are.
Almost 40. They're down almost 40. Yeah, they're down almost 40. I think they're gonna make it respectable, but I think this is. One or two things is going to happen here. Either they're going to make it respectable and get it to like 15, or that 40 is, or that almost 40 is going to go to almost 50.
And one more thing about the Western Conference, Minnesota and OKC is not going to finish number 1 and number 2 in the West. They are not. I refuse it. Denver is somehow, some way is going to finish number 1 again. And just like y'all was saying before I got up in here and I heard your conversation, the MVP looked like it's going for Joker for the 3rd year in the last 4 years. And because the thing is, I understand how SGA is playing. And Chilltown, you said if SGA wins MVP this year, man, that would be something, bro. And it's Fluent said that the NBA might think they know that owe the Thunder something, but they damn sure don't, and they're not going to give the Thunder a damn thing. But
they don't.
Listen,
but doesn't it? Hold on, they don't. But doesn't it feel sometimes like they act like they do? I feel like
I guess you could say it, but the common denominator is they're about. Listen, what's about to happen is that LeBron, Steph, and Kevin Durant are going to end up in the play-in. I don't believe that. I don't think the Warriors making the playoffs.
I don't think the Warriors making the playoffs.
The Warriors. Okay, you can sell me on the Warriors, but there's no way that they're gonna leave LeBron and KD out of this postseason.
That's terrible.
That's not gonna happen.
That'd be terrible for business. If KD, James, and Curry are out the playoffs, that's terrible.
See, Chilltown. You think like me when you want to think like me.
Hold on, I think it would be great. I think it would be great if they're all out of the playoffs because hopefully it's another smack in the GM's faces to realize putting star players together is not how you win. Because it's not. It's not how you win.
Well, you better tell that to the Los Angeles Clippers because one, Kawhi, I did a show
that,
yesterday.
listen, the Clippers are out the first. The Braves are
The
out the
Braves.
first round, regardless who they
Listen,
play. Period.
all right, Fluent. I'll tell you this.
First round, unless they draft me, they're out in the first round.
Fluent. I'll tell you this. Everything that we said about them, bro, in terms of getting it together, and they're gonna figure it out. What have they done? They figured it out.
Figured it out in the regular season. Cool.
Okay, that's fine. But now that Kawhi done figured out how to finesse the league for another 150 million, now which is crazy. And I did a show yesterday. I did How to Rob, the 50 Cent song, Future, the remix.
Bless you.
The remix.
Rob, did you talk about Eric Spoelstra and the Miami Heat?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, I talked about that. I thought that was hilarious too.
Let me wait for
I
the.
thought y'all might got a kick out of that. Actually, I thought Floyd might get a kick out of that. Actually,
I love that.
That was cool as hell. That was smooth.
That was good.
But going back to the I guess the East, I think Miami is going to end up winning this again, which is going to make them the 1990s which is going to make them the 90s version of the Buffalo Bills, because they can't beat anybody in the West. And then as far as the West goes, man, I won't be surprised if Denver wins again. They might, depending on the matchups, if they land with Minnesota. I don't think they will, but I think they will probably avoid Minnesota, because Minnesota probably finish top 4 or top 5, give and take. But they won't finish they definitely ain't finish top 3 for sure.
Who's finishing above Minnesota?
Who's finishing? Oh, Denver.
Who's finishing above Minnesota?
Denver.
Okay, so who else?
Denver.
Okay.
I have Sacramento.
No.
Yeah, I definitely got Sacramento. Yeah, for sure.
And what are you?
That's just what I got.
And what are you basing Sacramento being a top 2, top 3 seed on? What are you basing that on?
He's been talking to Ox too much.
Yeah. What are you basing that on?
I'm basing it on the fact that Minnesota eventually is going to fall enough for them to be enough for them to be a top 2, top 3 seed. They was top 3 last year. So even
right, and everybody figured them out. That's why they 6 right now. And when I say figured them out, they're not sneaking up on anybody. They don't play as fast as they did last year. They had the number 1 pace in the league last year. They're at 8 this year. The reason why they're at 8, because everybody knows that this is a fast-paced team, so they play better transition defense against them. With that being said, they had the number 1 offense last year. They don't have that this year. Teams are on to them. I think that's the same thing that Oklahoma City is going to be looking at. So a team like Minnesota, who I told you when you and I had this conversation, that what I envisioned from them this year, this is what I saw in the past.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
It's just that Cat got hurt. And you saw it yesterday. Yesterday, Cat went back to being Cat. Why? No Rudy on the floor. Not only no Rudy on the floor, no floor leader and Mike Conley on the floor.
Right.
When those 2 dudes are out, this is a different unit. The thing about Minnesota that everybody else doesn't have, and I'm talking about the other teams, the bottom teams in the league, the middle teams in the playoffs, they don't have that consistency. I don't talk about the Lakers because the Lakers don't do anything consistent. I don't talk about the Clippers. The Clippers don't do anything consistent. They don't have a floor leader. The Sacramento Kings are as good as they are. I don't fight that. The Clippers are their guy. They're one guy. Everything that's holding up the post that's holding up that tent with the Clippers is on one guy. Paul George already told us ain't the number 1 on the championship team. He already told us that. We saw Russell Westbrook as a championship. We saw Russell Westbrook on a championship team as the lead guard. You can't win it with him with a dude averaging 30 and 10. You still couldn't win it with him. Add that to the fact that we've seen James Harden in the postseason. So it's one guy who we've seen get it done. And what is that contingent on? That's contingent on him holding up. And what have we seen in the last 4 years from him? 40 games a season and breaking down. So at some point, At some point, this could very well be an issue. With that all being said, he's only missed 4 games this year.
Yeah,
only missing 4 games this year.
This is good so far.
With him only missing 4 games this year,
in Chilltown,
it looks great. It looks great.
In Chilltown, the thing is that we leaving out is that the sacrifices that's being made on that team, starting with Russell Westbrook going to that bench. When I saw that, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, now they have a plan, somewhat of an idea of what they want to do and how they want to play. And now we're seeing that. Defensively, they've been better. Obviously, we've seen what they did in the stretch since he's been on the bench, and what he's added to that bench production as well. We seen other guys like Zubats play a lot better. Terrence Mann play a lot better. Along with the Kawhis and the PGs and the James Hardens, man. I think that this team is starting to figure out that they're older, but they could also figure out how to play roles. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is, and once they start to get themselves into set roles, I think this will work out for them as opposed to just leaning on one guy. Now you mentioned that it is contingent definitely on Kawhi's health. However, I still
that's
think
that's every team, but
that's every team. So, but at the same time, my thing with Minnesota is, and you mentioned it. Once Conley is off the floor, you mentioned it. They don't have no floor leader. So basically, most of that team is kind of running in shambles. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of the pieces have to be there in order for it to work. Once you said it, once Rudy Gobert's off the floor, then Cat is pretty much by himself. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is, Minnesota, they don't really have room for error. They don't really have that much room for error, man. Because everything has to be clicking. Conley has to be.
That's why, but that's the difference, though. It is clicking. That's why they at the top of the Western Conference.
But for how long?
Well, what the difference with them is they've been healthy, and I don't see with the way that they're playing why that can change. Why that wouldn't change. Why that would change? There's no reason for me. There's no reason for me to believe that they could just fall off a cliff with the way that they play. Because again, their staple is them defensively. You already know how I feel about Anthony Edwards. You know how I feel about Jaden McDaniels. You already know how I feel about Rudy Gobert. So
all of these guys,
of all of the things, there's no reason for me to believe that one thing is going to change. Even if offensively they aren't as good, their staple is still their defense. And as long as they're good defensively, they're going to beat the teams that they need to beat and stay at the top of the Western Conference. And since we're on the subject of beating the teams that we need to beat, just so you know, Missoula has he's waving the white flag. He sat
all the starters.
All up.
Wait, it's the third quarter?
Start the third quarter. Tatum, Brown, Holiday, Porzingis. No, they played last night. They played last night against Minnesota.
Right.
So these dudes, they're down 40. All of them dudes. Jason Tatum on the bench, Brown on the bench, Holiday on the bench, White on the bench, Porzingis all on the bench.
That gets me back to the Eastern Conference.
Hold on one second. That's why Boston won't win a damn thing, because that is a losing culture. You can't. I don't care if you're down 100. It's the third quarter. You go into that third quarter and you say, "Hey, all we got to do is win this quarter." Because if you can get it to within 15, 20 by the fourth, you have a chance. We've seen people
putting losing coaching in Boston in the same sentence as a Laker fan. That's wild, but I mean, I guess it is.
That's directed toward Missoula. Not to the Celtics. The coach's mentality. If the coach's mentality is we're giving up at halftime, that's a problem.
I just trust Miami more, bro. Because they've proved to me that they could beat the best of the best of the best in the Eastern Conference consistently, and I think they're going to do it again.
Can I ask you something?
Hold on.
They're figuring it out.
If S Dizzle, I appreciate you coming on. I don't know if you want to say anything or not. If you don't, I'm just gonna put you backstage. Appreciate it. I do want to say, because you had said you're here for our
No, my bad, man. I'm at work. I'm driving on my lunch right now. I just realized you had brought me up. I just wanted to chime in on the on that Clippers take that that Uncle Chill had brought up, talking about consistency and whatnot.
In this house, they're the Braves, but go ahead.
Oh, okay, that's crazy. But I wanted to say, they somehow managed to consistently, beat your team's ass. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing they managed to do consistently.
What team is my team?
I say King.
Oh,
who's that?
LeBron James.
Oh,
I'm not a Laker fan.
No. But you're a LeBron guy.
What I do know is that they won the NBA championship in the last 4 years. I can't say that about the Clippers. So you could consistently win a 40-yard dash. You can't win the 100-yard dash though. You can consistently win that.
Well, I'll just bring it up because you said they have done nothing consistently. I mean, and
They haven't.
consistently, they kind of.
They have.
I mean, you just said they consistently won the 40-yard dash. I'm not saying that that's a championship. I'm not saying that's nothing to write home about.
Well, all I know is that Los Angeles, and I'm not even a Laker fan, but Los
No,
Angeles.
no, keep it going. Keep it going. I like this.
Los Angeles is 100% a Lakers now. In the Clippers, by the way, the Clippers have beaten the Lakers a bunch of different times. Meanwhile,
A lot.
It's still a Laker town, and they've won the NBA championship. The Clippers actually put a team together to win the NBA championship, and they haven't gotten close.
I mean, haven't gotten close. They
consistently haven't gotten close.
Chill Town, I'm gonna go back to a question that you asked early on when it's got together. What if they pull this off?
It'd be
Didn't
crazy. I'm thinking about because what I'm thinking about is I'm thinking about what resumes are going to look like now if they end up winning this thing. Like,
hold on, wait. What if they don't?
Which is more likely?
Which is more likely?
If they don't, then okay. Listen, let's have it right. Listen, I'm from Long Beach. I'm from Long Beach, right? Listen, I'm from Long Beach. You feel me? LA is a hop, skip, jump away. He really don't. Fluent is like you throwing up the holy water, the cross on your fingers and all that. You trying to make sure this will never happen. But if it does happen, that'll be some of the scariest shit ever. Because I'm gonna be up here talking wicked. You feel me? Wicked work to all of y'all.
You're from Long Beach. You're from Long Beach. You know where I used to live? In Signal Hill, looking down on you guys.
Oh, word.
The Clippers.
I'm not even thinking about that. I'm not even thinking about the Clippers winning.
That was a good one.
It's true. It's true.
I'm thinking about what this means for Kawhi.
I don't think it means that much for Kawhi more than what it means for Russell Westbrook.
Westbrook, Harden.
That's what I'm thinking about. We gotta have a
whole over a lot of people. If he,
we gotta have a whole different conversation about Russell Westbrook. Way different.
Yes, I agree.
25,000 points, almost 10,000 assists, and the NBA champion.
Won a championship coming off the bench, bro. So the thing is, it goes in perspective.
We talk about Bill Walton as a top 5. We talk about Bill Walton as a top 10, top 15 center all time, and he played 3 years.
Listen.
And he played 3 seasons. So imagine if Russ and the Clippers win it. What kind of conversation are we having? Guess what's going to have to happen? Some dudes got to come off that list.
Listen, the conversation.
They don't want to have that conversation. Say they don't want to have that conversation. B. They don't.
The conversation that I want to have is Kawhi over a lot of these dudes, man, that I despise. And the thing is, bro, like you came on here last year with a Clippers jersey during the playoffs, and I remember that episode.
Right now. I'll go put it on again right now.
Listen, you don't got to do that. You don't got to do that. I said I was gonna get you a Toronto one, bro. I got that on the way. I just want to figure out where to get you there. But
what do you need from Toronto? You just ask me. I got everything right here.
All right, send your boy a damn Toronto Kawhi jersey.
Leonard.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
Fluent. Be great.
Bless him.
That's the only championship y'all got up there, bro. Like, so come on, don't do that.
Listen, let me tell you something. You know how I feel about retiring numbers, or you may or may not know, retiring numbers and all that stuff. I think no one should ever do it. That might be the one number Toronto actually should retire, the number 2.
I know they're not gonna retire they're not going to retire number 15, which is disrespectful, but it is what it is.
You know what? Actually, let me just say, I actually think they will. Because I think
they will eventually, but
they patched things up. They patched things up with Vince. The fans gave him a huge standing ovation in his final year when he was here, and more importantly, when we had his mom on the Mother's Day special, Fluent and I, or Chill and I, on the show. I don't know if you guys watched it. The Mother's Day.
Yeah, that was a good show.
She was like, they still have a condo here. They still there's still communication. So I think that's the one. I think maybe the year he goes into, has he gone in? He hasn't gone into the Hall of Fame yet, right?
Not yet.
I think the year he goes into the Hall of Fame, I think you might see that number being.
Orlando is just now putting on Shaq's jersey.
I saw that.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. All these years, man.
Why'd they do that, Jay?
Why did they do
You're
that?
in Florida. Why now? Why now?
Why after 30 years?
I mean, you know how the old saying, "Time heals all wounds."
All right, there you go.
That's what that is. Even though Dwight Howard, the best player to ever play for the Orlando Magic.
Oh my
Not true. It
God.
was Shaq. It was Shaq.
I know you don't want to believe it,
Wow.
It was Shaq.
No, that'd be
You
Tracy
gonna- you
McGrady.
gonna
so if that's true, so if that's true, Sebastian, LeBron James, the best player to ever play for the Lakers. You don't care about longevity. You don't care. No, it's not. No, it is not. He played 4 years there. Dwight Howard played 8 years in Orlando. 8 years. Not only did he play 8 years, won the Defensive Player of the Year 3 straight years, took him to the NBA Finals like Shaq did, was in the league MVP conversation for 5 of those years.
Beat LeBron James. Beat LeBron James.
Leading rebound. And we ain't talking about him as a better player than Shaq, because I will never say that. And anybody who ever says that,
saying a better Orlando Magic player.
You get the goofy tag. You absolutely get the goofy tag.
I think it's Hito Turkoglu.
Wait in LeBron. Okay.
Said I like Turkoglu.
And I would never say that James is the best player to ever play for the Lakers. No, I would never say that.
James,
I think that the people that say that, bro, is the people that say, my glorious king, man. Like we ain't gonna get there.
Not doing that.
Yeah. So listen, but if you got LeBron,
and I know we got to go, Tone, but I don't appreciate this ass whooping at all.
Hey,
I do.
We don't have to go. We don't have to go. I got to go put my kids to bed. Right. But other than that, you guys can stay as long as you want.
We got about
next week. Hold on. Now next week when we're back on Player's Choice at 9 p.m. sharp, we got to end it. We could go.
Right. The return of Fluent and Chill back on the PC brand, man.
I think the return of Player's Choice, because they took a little hiatus there to straighten some things out. But
that's one last thing. Sorry.
Well, yeah.
Just one last thing. For Minnesota, Chill. What do you think has changed mostly in the last 2 or 3 seasons that has led to Minnesota being this good this season?
Rudy Gobert. That's the difference.
Like last how many games?
I think he's playing his best basketball.
Rudy Gobert is Rudy Gobert. Don't get me wrong. You already know how I feel about Anthony Edwards. I think he's going to be the league MVP at some point in the season. But you can't put a price tag on an interior defender. How much better that makes perimeter players, both offensively and defensive players. Offensively and defensively. How much better that makes them. Rudy got roasted. Right. When they gave up those first round picks. How do those first round picks gonna look now when it's the 28th pick in the first round, when it's the 26th pick in the first round next year, and it's the 27th pick, as opposed to Minnesota, who, by the way, Rudy Gobert, I believe I think he's 29, Cat's 28, Anthony Edwards is 23 or 22 or 23. Jaden McDaniels is 20, 24, something like that. Got a bunch of kids on this crew. Mike Conley is the only older guy. But if Kyle Lowry can still do it, Mike Conley can still do it for a couple of more years. So the difference with this crew, I still stand on it. It's Rudy Gobert being the difference in the middle, because that's why they got him. They got him for toughness.
But now you did say, hold on, you did say quickly, quickly, because you said over the last 3 years. So it's Rudy Gobert. Mm-hmm. It's health, because last year when I told you I wasn't going to see the damn balloons again, right? Without Cat and Gobert being healthy to play together. And then 3, it's the development of Ant. So it's those 3 things in order of Gobert, them being healthy with Gobert and Cat playing together, and the development of Ant. I will say this, Conley can't and probably won't be able to do it forever. Tell Minnesota to figure it out, because I guarantee you can get Tyus Jones from Washington, and he's a very calm backup point guard who can lead a second unit. That would make them, I think, to Lee's point, an actual threat in the Western Conference.
I would give a good, significant amount of credit to Mike Conley, and going back to what he did for the Utah Jazz in that first half of the season, man. Like, I think having a veteran like him and a floor leader like him, I think, as Chilltown said, is very important, man. Listen, great floor leader, great locker room guy, keeping the guys together, man. Great veteran, and holding that team afloat at his age. He was doing this last year with Utah. When they went on that crazy spree that they went on, brother, and everybody was, and I was starting to believe in them, and then the injuries piled up. But shout out to Mike Conley, man. That definitely great veteran, but I still think that everything that they're doing right now, they have to remain healthy and they have to stay healthy, because me and Chilltown know, and I tell them all the time, this is a marathon, not a sprint. And I think Minnesota and OKC at some point they're gonna figure that out, because the thing with a lot of these teams, when they start getting early success, they start to hit a wall. And I start to notice it. They start to hit a wall, and it's okay for those teams to hit a wall, man, because they never been through what they're going through right now. They never been winning like this before as a group, and they have to figure out how to sustain it throughout the rest of the 82 game season. So this is one of the reasons why I think Denver's going to finish number one. I feel like Minnesota can finish top three, or can finish top three or top four. It just depends on what the teams at the bottom or underneath do outside of that, because the Clippers are gaining some momentum as far as the regular season goes, but we all know everything that they're going to be judged on is in the playoffs. The same as a lot of other teams that have been together, but
we're gonna find out though. We definitely gonna find out.
Oh,
But
yeah,
we gotta wrap
we're
this
gonna
up,
find
fellas.
out.
Mhm.
You know who else we're gonna find out about? The Boston Celtics.
Oh, you know, yeah, we are gonna find out.
Facts.
Yes, we are gonna find
Yeah,
out about this.
that's
It's-
what we're gonna find out. And I'm gonna come back in here because I've been telling you about them for like the
All
last
right.
400 days.
Absolutely, we will do that. So
We'll talk about it, but until
Yes, we will.
next
Yes,
week
we will.
on Player's Choice, same time, Thursday,
That's right,
7
Sebastian.
p.m.
Look at it.
Cowboys.
No, Sebastian, look at it. No, it's right here.
But
Hey,
I want you to get a
Fluent.
good look at this.
yes, sir. Yes,
This
sir.
is the NFC.
Yo, Fluent is this going to be the regular show for this
No, this show.
channel?
No,
No. This
Go back
show, as you can see in the top right corner, this show is still going to be on Player's Choice. Back next Thursday, unless there's another delay. So we'll be here. If anything happens with Player's Choice, this is our backup. But otherwise, it will be on Player's Choice back again next week.
I love seeing
Okay,
certain teams
okay,
get
cool.
their ass
all right,
whooped.
fellas.
Gentlemen,
Y'all
Have a
for
later.
good-
real.
Jay,
Fellas.
Jay,
The Cowboys are gonna lose as
They
usual.
won't.
Yes, they
Y'all
will.
later.
Let's
And
just
we're
say
gonna kick the shit out of the 49ers too.
let
So
him
don't
say
worry
his
about it.
tagline.
Now you're more fluent.
Drink water.
Hey,
Nah, drink
Drink
sweat,
and drive.
ginger ale. It's good. It make you burp.
drink that water, man. Much
Same.
love, Fluent Chill. Appreciate the opportunity to come up here and kick it with y'all, man.
Can you guys let Chill talk? Oh my god.
Jay, where's Jay go? It's me by myself. For Jay, take it light, but take it.